Hello again. It's the Catalyst Sessions. My name is Bill DeYoung, and tonight we're talking with the great and powerful Oz. I was going to say Mr. Chad Mize, who is one of St. Petersburg's most popular and very most talented artists. He's not only an artist; he's a designer. He's a gallery owner. He's an activist, and he's an advocate. This is so important for other artists in our area, and there's so much to talk with Chad about. So let's say, hey, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
I was just commenting, you're in the gallery right now because Don't Ask, Do Tell is coming up this week. But I'm looking at this sort of like blank wall behind you. Oh, look, it's it's a polar bear eating vanilla ice cream in a blizzard. You know,
Yep.
as Rocky and Bullwinkle used to say when trying to explain a white canvas. What stage are we at here right now?
So I'm in between exhibits. So the last one was up for a month. That was Bon Appetit. So
Yeah.
one a month. Usually have like 1 or 2 weeks in between the shows. So kind of like get the art out of here and it's nice to have some blank walls for a week or two. And then I have artists dropping off this week. The show opens on Friday the 19th.
Well, talk to me about Don't Ask, Do Tell. I mean, this is the Pride exhibit.
Yeah,
And,
so since I've had Mize Gallery, this is my third Pride show. So
yeah.
in June to celebrate Pride, I've done, a Pride exhibit. The first one was Pride and Joy. And then the second one last year, it was the 50th year of Stonewall. So we did icons,
Yes.
50 artists. That was pretty impactful. And then this one is Don't Ask, Do Tell. It's all LGBTQIA plus artists. And it's just actually just their voice. So there's no theme per se, but it's like just for them to speak their voice.
These group shows, especially, we should point out the Mize Gallery is, what is it, 689 MLK? 689 MLK North.
Yep.
Otherwise known to some people as 9th Street, but, from the old days. But that these group shows change monthly. And how far in advance do you figure out what you're going? I mean, Pride is kind of a no-brainer because of this time of year, but do you have a whole year's worth worked out in your head? This is what I'm going to conceptually do this month, and when do you start talking to artists about it?
So typically I give the artists 3 months to create. Some of the shows are curated where we select the artist specifically, and then some are open call. So when we want some of these larger shows where we have like 60 artists, we'll put out a call to artists. I do pride myself on having a broad range of different artists in my shows.
Yeah.
Male, female, gay, straight, ethnically diverse, age brackets are all over the map from like 18-year-olds to 72-year-olds. So each show is different. This one specifically coming up was curated. I co-curated with Kurt Piazza. And so he selected some of the artists and then I selected some of them for it.
I want to look at a couple of images here, if I can. Yeah, there's the one I wanted right there. This is something that not a lot of artists have always had such an incredible online presence. This is your Instagram page.
All right.
It's colorful. I mean, it's like a work of art in itself. It just jumps off the page. There's Jennifer Ring's wonderful story about this exhibition. Hi, Jennifer. I hope you're watching. And so it's sort of like a chronicle, not only of your work and where you are, but your thoughts, there's pictures of your friends, and your dog makes frequent appearances here. In contrast to the blank wall behind you, this is a very colorful piece here, and it's fascinating stuff. My point here is that it occurs to me that you have been all over, using social media as an artistic tool, even before it became necessary in this new virtual weird world we live in. There's this graphic art feel to what you do. This like very much a playfulness. Has it always been that way for you? I mean, did you see this coming? And yeah, I'm going to use this as another tool. I don't really know how to formulate the question other than.
Right. Well, with what we're going through now, putting all the exhibits online or doing the virtual
right
openings. I've always put the exhibits online. Like even when I had my old gallery, Blue Lucy, I just like to document stuff. And
Yeah.
I've also found that using social media is such a powerful tool in getting, your message out and representing all these artists, promoting. And it's a little ADD on my part. I think I become a
I
little
would.
obsessed with trying to post on the daily just to keep it fresh. And really the reason I do that is because I want to be relevant. I just like to stay relevant, and even with the causes that I support, I like to be able to get them out there, and I feel like social media is such a great tool for that.
Well, certainly, when you the virtual, the video tours they do. Let's take this off for now. The video tours that you do, uh, it's almost like being there.
Yeah.
And maybe your obsessive documentation, as you say, is a very helpful thing, and it's kept the gallery very much in the moment during, again, all this weird stuff. I wanted to address the sort of pop art flavor of your work and your whole aesthetic. You're from Bradenton, I think, originally, you told me?
I grew up down in Bradenton, so
Okay.
I attended high school there.
Where did that come from, though, the pop art sensibility and the graphic sense? I mean, we always that kind of kid?
Yeah, I mean, I was always the artist kid growing up. I was actually talking to someone yesterday, and I was saying that I used it as my superpower. I identify as a gay male, and so when I was younger, being in the closet, you were always concerned that somebody would go in that direction or try to bully you in a way. And I always used art in a way to kind of defer from that, to take away from like who I may have thought I was, or, I don't know, art was always a power for me to have. And as I've gotten to be an adult and a professional artist, I use art to, like I said, causes, political thing, and I'm always into humor. Humor's kind of been my thing.
Yeah.
I love Mad Magazine growing up.
Oh, me too. Yeah, absolutely.
Always wanted to actually work for Mad or something. But cartoons were kind of my thing. I don't really watch cartoons, but I love to draw cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, using humor, I think, tongue in cheek. A lot of my exhibits kind of tend to be that way. Fun, vibrant, colorful.
I want to look at a couple of pieces of your work here. First of all, this one, which I found on your site, this dates you as a child of the ~80s, my friend.
Yep. So that piece I did for a show. I did a solo exhibit at Leslie Curran's gallery, and it was kind of all the pieces documented my life.
Oh.
And this one specifically was called Music. And those were all cassettes that I actually owned. So I just redrew the covers of the cassettes.
Oh, I think this is brilliant.
Yeah.
I may have to commission you to do one of these for me.
Yeah, well, I can do commissions of these, but I did one recently of hip hop. So it was all like rap artists.
Yeah.
I was thinking of doing like a country one, a metal one, but it would be great because I think there's around probably like 24, covers. So you could give me the list that you would want, and I would recreate it.
We'll have to talk about that. What I like about this, Chad, is what I love about this is because I've been a record geek. That was my superpower, if you will, all those years. And I recognize not only these covers, but just, that's Columbia, that's RCA, there's a Warner Brothers, the way you've done all the graphics and everything.
Right.
It's
Well, I actually
Houston is killing me down here. I mean,
they're actual cassette, cases. So I went to the thrift stores and found all the cases.
Okay. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, all right. This will take me a minute because I am a rank amateur. Oh yeah, this was. Let's talk about this because it's something that you did last year, and if I can make it work. Yeah, this is the raise cap, and this is an example of you. Listen, you told me once that the great freedom of being a professional artist and someone who does, pop art work and graphic work, but being an artist is that you would never do a company logo. I don't know if this bent the rules a little bit, and I'm not trying to catch you in something here, because this design is so cool. Tell the folks at home what this is and how this came about, would you?
So this was done last year for the Tampa Bay Rays. I had been hired the year prior to do murals for the Tropicana Field for the concessions.
Mhm.
I did this doodle style, which is on the bill of the hat, for that piece for the mural. And then the year after, I got approached by them to actually, this was a giveaway for kids.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I kind of presented maybe 10 designs, and this was the one they went with. So yeah, it was a dream come true. My mother is a huge sports fan. The actual day of the game was Mother's Day, so I was able to take my mom and my sister. And
Oh, you were on the Jumbotron. I think
yeah,
I saw
it was
that.
really cool. My mom was like, "You've arrived."
Yeah, I know that feeling. You know, my mother would look at me and say, "So you still writing your little stories?" You know, yeah. But when I got in the St. Petersburg Times, it was, oh, you really you scored one. All right. So this limited edition, I imagine. So this is probably $200 on eBay now. Right? I mean, they're long gone.
Funny, they have been on eBay. Not as that much, but I think even someone said they found one in a thrift store, which was like great.
Well,
You know, that's
I didn't go and get one. I think it's very cool, and you know, I mean, maybe at some point when the curtain lifts, they'll get you to come and paint the outside of the dome.
Yeah,
Can you imagine what a canvas that would be?
that'd be great.
Let's look at something else. I have some of your murals here, and I think this is a new one. And so I was hoping you could. I stole all this from your website. I'm sure you figured out. What are we looking at?
This is Saint Peter, so it's a character that I created probably 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Kind of a take on the hipster of Saint Pete with the tats and stuff, and then referencing Catholicism. But this was done specifically, this mural, for the new speakeasy called The Saint, which is Grand Central area. So this is inside. The whole inside of this bar is done like a Catholic church. So you do walk through a confessional booth to get into it. And it's from the owner of the Hollander and Zazood. So
Is this place open yet?
It's not. It may be open now soon.
Wow.
But with the social distancing and stuff, I don't know what the status is.
So this is a.
I've done T-shirts of this, stickers, and then finally I was looking to do a mural eventually of them, and then they approached me to do that.
Ah, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, here's a very recognizable image of yours that everyone among many that everybody knows, and I know that Mr. Sun was sort of an iconic 40s or 50s thing from the city.
So I've done the mural. This mural is for a private residence, the specific one we're looking at. But I did the original one I did. The first time I had painted him was back at Blue Lucy, behind when I had my gallery on the 600 block. I did a show called Berg is the Word with I Love the Berg.
Yeah.
And at that time, the murals started popping up. I did approach the city to see like what the legality of using the character was, because it was created in the 1940s by Jack Swenningson, who worked for an advertising agency called Griffin Advertising. So he created the original Mr. Sun. This is my updated version. I did add some other elements, kind of gave him a bottom lip. I used the rays because the original didn't really have the rays around them.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's been great. I've done T-shirts of this. I recently have a project that I can't really talk about, that it's going to be pretty big with the usage of this character. So
cool.
Yeah, and for me, it's like St. Pete. I was always drawn to the like retro vibe of St. Pete.
Yeah.
And I love referencing a lot of the retro, but also adding the new vision with the work that I do. And I kind of see like myself and some other designers locally kind of promoting St. Pete like they did back in the 40s, but we have our own spin on it.
The logical thing there for me to ask you at this stage is, how did you end up in St. Pete? I mean, Blue Lucy was before, I'm from here, but I only came back a couple of years ago. So that was not, and my gallery is 2 years old now.
Yeah, so I've been here since 2003.
Okay.
When I got out of college, I ended up moving to Boston. And so I lived there in my 20s. And then I eventually started working for myself. So I've worked for myself since 2001. That's when I came up with Blue Lucy and my brand with that. And then it just got really expensive to live in Boston. I was kind of done with that part of my life. I'm from Florida, and I always loved St. Pete. So I came back down, and I felt like St. Pete at that time was a place you could kind of move to and create what you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
It was cheaper back then. There was still stuff going on, like there was an art scene, but it wasn't as big and bustling as it is now.
Yeah.
So it was fun to kind of come to a place and help kind of make it what it was.
That's another point of pride, I would imagine, is that someone such as yourself, who is pretty much one of the architects of the current art scene. I mean, would you go that far and say, yeah, well, I'm a building block man. You know, I was part of it.
I think it's lots of people, but I have been, blessed to be able to create stuff. You know, I was really involved with the shuffle scene back in the day before it became big. Shine, I'm on the committee for Shine, which is, you know, the murals and stuff.
Yeah.
So I've been a part of a lot of the things that have made St. Pete what it is, but it's definitely a big collaborative effort of people, I think. You know, Vitale Brothers, I think, were some of the pioneers in terms of the art shows and, you know, creating the murals and stuff back in the day. And I kind of jumped into their group when I got here, when I moved here. They were doing a lot of stuff.
So are you actively involved in Shine? You said you're on the
Yeah, I'm on the curation side. Back in the day, I was doing more of the community-driven projects, which I still have a part in, but I'm curating with Michelle Tanu and Janae Praby now. So yeah, I'm still involved. This will be year 5, I think, 5 or 6.
This mural work, and I mean, I'm looking around. This I had never seen. Maybe I've driven past it, you know. But
this one's in Miami and Wynwood.
Oh, well, that would. Okay. Look at the caption.
That's what I did through Bank OZK.
Yeah.
So they used to be called Bank of the Ozarks. Now they're Bank OZK.
Yes. Yes.
This was an exciting piece for me, just because it was my first mural outside of this area.
Yeah. Okay.
So, you know,
that explains why I haven't actually seen it.
Yeah, so this is a pattern piece, and actually the pattern there, they also licensed my patterns to use for their debit cards. So if you get like an account with them, you can select one of the patterns I did.
Wow, Bank OZK debit cards.
Yeah, and they've been a great sponsor for Shine in the past. They sponsored all the corner canvases, which is where we have those electrical boxes on the corners.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've been fun.
Let me get your take on public art and what, specifically. Let's get rid of this and find something in St. Petersburg, but specifically what it means to the city. I mean, it helps us get an identity. I don't know if I have any of the murals here, but I have a lot more internal stuff. But public art, Chad. I mean, it's something that, to my mind, at least in St. Petersburg, didn't exist. I mean, pre-Shine 10, 20 years ago, there was nothing like this here. There's a question in here somewhere. Talk to me about public art.
Well, for me, like when I've done pieces, so one example would be Historic Uptown. I got commissioned by the Neighborhood Association like 4 years ago to do a piece over by Round Lake. And it was a pattern, it was a hex block pattern. And what I found with that particular piece was it wasn't just me putting the mural, but once you put art on a building, there's some way of like making it a safer space, and it brightens the neighborhood. And I feel like, crime may be lowered because people are out there constantly taking photographs. It becomes more of like, an art piece as opposed to a shady place to smoke crack by, I feel like art can do that. And obviously with St. Pete now, we have this huge, it's over like 500 murals throughout the city. They made this book that has all of them in it.
Yeah.
Every year there's more and more added. And now the businesses are seeing the benefit of having a mural on their space. I just love living in a non-beige city,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of cities you go into, it's just very basic and just kind of like cookie cutter. So it's neat to live in kind of an eclectic city where there's lots of color everywhere and different artists represented. It's, very diverse with the styles and
I
subjects.
just, I just spoke with Janae a couple of weeks ago. She sort of put out a wall call, if you will. I think that's the first stage in Shine, is what businesses, would you like to have something painted on your wall? I mean, can you see that changing every year? Like there's more of, yeah, my turn. I want to do that this year. I want to be a part of this. Maybe than it was in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, now it's the businesses do have to pay. So back in the day, it was like we were just like desperately looking for walls for people to take the risk of putting something on their wall. And when we do Shine, it's not commercial driven, so we don't, we show them the artist and what their style is, but they have no say in what is going. It's not like you got to paint a fish on the side of this building, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we do Shine for the sake of art. We want artists to come and express themselves and not be told what they have to paint and what they have to do. So it's great to see that, to see businesses wanting to have that.
But if they got to pony up some dough now,
Yeah, but like, to be honest, I charge a certain amount. They're getting a great deal based on even what the artist is. These are international and national artists coming in that have like a following, and the art is legitimately really good. So they're getting a great deal, in my opinion.
What else did I want to? I found another one that I just thought was interesting, because this is this kind of graphic design style that you do, and pattern art, I think you called it. What is this?
This is my neighbor, who's my partner, Dan. He's opening up Uptown Eats, which is the old Banyan spot next to Mize.
Oh, yeah.
So I did this piece for him. This is his color palette, and I did a piece similar for the inside of the restroom as well, which is on the right-hand side there in the door. But they're opening up this summer. So this is kind of a dream come true for myself and my partner, to have our businesses side by side. Of course, with COVID, we ended up buying the business the week COVID broke. So we're looking at it as a positive, because nobody's been hired yet, and we've kind of taken our time in getting the space how we want it. And
tell me about Uptown Eats.
So it's just going to be, it's going to be a breakfast lunch place, just like Banyan was.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a different style, and Dan's known for his cooking, and he's doing these Monday meals now, just to supplement the costs that we're not getting to be open. So he's doing that once a week on Mondays, where people sign up and it's like dinner type thing. So eventually it's going to be a breakfast lunch, and then they'll move into like a beer and wine on the weekend for evening hours, just with light bites.
So when you have, I'm going to take an educated guess, like when you are back to having, and we all know this is going to happen, opening receptions.
Yeah.
Uptown Eats will be a part of that too. Maybe not only cater it, but people can go.
Yeah.
Bigger reception.
Yeah. So originally, my last show was called Bon Appetit, and it was like just doing fusions of art. That was originally planned for them to be open for that time. Of course, that didn't happen. But yeah, for sure, we're going to be open side by side. I have another new neighbor next to me that's a retail. She's art retail. So she's called Neat, and that opens next week. So we have a little trifecta of art and food and stuff on our block.
It's the trifecta. That's an old punk song. Was it The Damned, maybe? Neat.
Yeah, it is a reference to that.
Yeah, was it The Damned? Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. She told me that. I was like, where did the name come from?
Yeah.
That's The Damned. Yeah.
Elvis Costello covered it early on. I remember. That's a weird song. How has COVID been for you? Because you have such a presence virtually with the video tours you're doing, and you always can, as you were saying before, see everything online anyway. Are people still buying art? This way?
Yeah, the last two exhibits, we've actually sold more than the previous two. So we sold 12 from each show. The first one, I felt like it was a lot of success for people wanting to support at this time.
Yeah.
And then the second, the last show, I was like, okay, are people buying as much? But they did. And I did have a few people say, hey, I saw that VR you posted days after, and
Yeah.
I want this piece now. Do you still have it available? So I think people are wanting to support the art. I mean, I've always sold art in my shows, so I feel like people want to get the pieces. I show a lot of artists that have like fans and followers. So I think, we'll continue to make sales. The gallery for me is a passion project. I don't really make a lot off the gallery. I make enough to pay the bills typically, to run the actual space.
Sure. Yeah.
But for me, like during COVID, having the space and being able to still hang these exhibits was healthy for my mind to have something to do. And, that was kind of fun, like not having the openings. It was kind of a break because I've done like 27 shows since I've had Mize.
Yeah.
And so every month having to be on, clean the space, when you have these openings, you have to be on for 5 hours talking to everybody.
Oh yeah. I know how much you love that. Yeah.
A breath of fresh air just to kind of do it online and, promote it that way. And now learning, I never did the VR lives, but I feel like now, even when we go back to a regular schedule with openings, I'm going to do those for the people that don't live locally. So I've gotten that feedback. People really like me going around talking about the art, behind the camera.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, to that end, you're open by appointment now. You are actually allowing people in.
Well, Saturday, so I am going to have hours. So it's not by appointment. So for this next exhibit, I will have Saturday hours, 11 to 7. I do require a mask being worn.
Yeah.
Of course, nobody touches art in a gallery. So it's basically walk in, walk out, and check it out.
Yeah.
And I'll, monitor, make sure there aren't crowds gathering inside. But I think we're at this point now where I feel comfortable having people inside the gallery. But I definitely, don't want a big group coming and that sort of thing. So, but it'll be.
Well, let's reiterate. We're pretty much at the end of our time together here. But let's reiterate that Don't Ask, Do Tell, which is the annual Pride Show, opens Friday the 19th.
Correct, and that's going to be
What does that mean? It opens on Friday, but you have Saturday hours. In the virtual world, what does that mean exactly?
So it'll mean that I'm going to do a live virtual on Facebook Live and Instagram Live, just so everyone can see the work. And then Saturday, the day after, you can come by if you want to see the show.
Physically. And tell us again what the Saturday hours are.
Saturday's 11 to 7.
And the website is chadmize.com?
Correct.
Okay. Always a pleasure talking to you, my friend.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Wishing you all the best, and maybe we'll see you on Saturday, too.
Well, wear your mask.
Yes, you too, Chad.